In addition to in-person participation, we are using the Microsoft Teams platform to offer remote participation in this hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive comments on an application by ReSource Waste Services of Epping for a standard permit to operate a collection, storage, and transfer facility for municipal solid waste in Epping, New Hampshire. My name is Leah McKenna, and I am the presiding officer for this public hearing. During the hearing, I may refer to the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services as NHDES, the department, or DES. During this hearing, I'll provide an overview of the technology that we'll be using. I'll explain the mechanism for submitting verbal and written comments and how to register to provide verbal comments. The applicant's representative will also provide a brief presentation, and lastly, we will receive public comments. I would like to take a moment to introduce you to the team that we have supporting this public hearing. You can see me here in the center of the table. To my right is Jamie Colby of the Solid Waste Management Bureau. In the audience, we have Mike Wimstat, the Director of the Waste Management Division. To my right, we have Sam Lazo of the Solid Waste Management Bureau and Jason Avancic of the Solid Waste Management Bureau. Hiding in the corner, we have Jean Ronigan of the Department of Information Technology, and together they are coordinating use of the public hearing software and providing technical support. All participants in the hearing have the opportunity to listen and will be able to provide oral testimony when invited by the hearing officer through the Microsoft Teams platform, by phone, or in person. If you would like to speak during the hearing, you will need to either 1, attend in person here at the American Legion, or 2, join the meeting from a computer with a microphone from an iOS, Android, or Windows device, or by telephone. A link to access this hearing online or by phone is available through DES's events calendar found on the department's website. For those in the room, we have a technical problem. I'm just going to hold for a moment. Has to be one. Just having the issue of showing slides for advanced. Oh, you got it. Not a moment too soon. I'm going to provide an introduction to Microsoft Teams for the online participants. Periodically throughout the hearing, I will provide instructions on how to use Microsoft Teams. We will turn on and describe certain functions of the software when we are soliciting testimony. When you are logged into Microsoft Teams, you will see the Q&A button at the top of your screen. I will provide instructions on using the Q&A button later in the hearing. Right now, all online attendees are muted with no video feed, and you should be able to see and hear DES staff. Online attendees will remain in this state until the floor is open for public comment, at which time we will turn on and describe the functions of Microsoft Teams that will allow remote attendees to participate. DES will manage the software for the in-person participants. For remote participants, I will provide detailed instructions on how to request to speak when we open the floor. Please note when you are unmuted and speaking, DES and all other attendees will hear you, but your video feed will not be transmitted. If you need assistance with Microsoft Teams, we have Jean Ronigan standing by to help. I will read her phone number and email address now, and her contact information will be posted on the screen intermittently through the hearing. You can reach Jean by phone at area code 603-271-8740 or by email at jeanne, Jeanne, .roningen@doit.nh.gov. Again, I will provide more instructions on using Microsoft Teams later in the hearing. Next, I would like to share a few important details about logistics. For in-person attendees, the emergency exits are located at the front and the side of the room. The restroom is located to the right of the room entrance. In the event of an emergency requiring evacuation, it will be automatically suspended. If it appears we can return to the building and resume the hearing within a short period of time, we will do so. Oral hearing tonight, and we have not cycled at least once through all of the speakers requesting to be heard, we will endeavor to return to Epping to resume the oral public hearing on another date. We will announce the date time to all persons on the service list and post it on the DES website. If we lose internet connectivity, we will try to reestablish remote testimony. However, the hearing. In addition to oral testimony, DES strongly encourages submittal of written testimony. The public comment period for receipt of written testimony will run through Thursday, January 22nd, 2026 at 4 p.m. Please submit written testimony as specified in the public hearing notice. Please understand that the purpose of this hearing is to receive oral testimony to identify the concerns of citizens and governing bodies of the host municipality, county, and district, and other affected persons on a solid waste permit application submitted to DES by ReSource Waste Services of Epping. In the permit application, ReSource Waste Services of Epping is requesting that DES approve a standard permit application for a solid waste collection, storage, and transfer facility to manage municipal solid waste. Notice of this hearing was published in the Concord Monitor and Foster's Daily Democrat, published in DES's Municipal EcoLink newsletter in December 2025, posted on the DES website, and mailed to abutters of the proposed facility, the host municipality, and other affected entities as identified and required by the New Hampshire Solid Waste Rules. The hearing notice includes the date, time, and place of this hearing, and information for obtaining a copy of the application for review. It also provides instructions and the deadline for submitting written testimony. If you are using Microsoft Teams, you can review a copy of the hearing notice by visiting the DES calendar webpage. Now we'll review the hearing agenda. First, Jamie Colby will provide a brief overview of the solid waste permit application process and the criteria that DES must use to make its decision to approve or deny the requested permit application. Jamie will also explain where we currently review process and what the next steps will be after this hearing. Second, a representative of ReSource will provide a description of the requested approval and application. Then we'll take a 5-minute break. Immediately following that break, we will accept public comments on the application in an orderly fashion. Anyone wishing to make oral comments for the department to consider during its review of the application will have the opportunity to do so during this hearing. Jamie Colby will now provide information about the solid waste permitting process. Jamie?
Thank you, Leah. Good evening, everyone. As Leah stated, my name is Jamie Colby. I'm supervisor of the engineering and permitting section in the Solid Waste Management Bureau at DES. For context, the Solid Waste Management Bureau regulates the management of solid waste primarily by regulating the facilities that handle solid waste. We accomplish this through administration of a permitting system as required by the Solid Waste Management Act, RSA 149M. And as authorized by RSA 149M, the department has adopted administrative rules that apply to solid waste management facilities statewide. At this time, I will briefly explain how the department reviews an application like the one on which we are here to receive public testimony. DES's role at this time is to review the application to determine whether it meets the requirements of RSA 149M and the New Hampshire Code of Administrative Rules for Solid Waste Management and issue a decision on the application. Generally speaking, review of an application occurs in 2 steps. The first step involves a completeness determination. That is, we evaluate whether or not we have all of the information required by rule. The second step involves the review of the application and receipt of public comments. The first step of this process has been accomplished. The department has determined that ReSource Waste Services of Epping's standard permit application is complete. We have subsequently begun review of the application and are now requesting public comment on the application. We will consider public comments and the results of our review when making a decision on the application. We have not yet made a decision. Note that during review of this application, we are looking at the requirements in the New Hampshire solid waste rules for a collection, storage, and transfer facility, including the facility siting, design, construction, operation, and closure requirements for collection, storage, and transfer facilities found in Chapter ENV-SW 400 of the New Hampshire Solid Waste Rules. This chapter incorporates by reference various other administrative rules found in chapters ENV-SW 900 through ENV-SW 1100, as well as ENV-SW 1400. Once we have received your comments and completed review of the application, we will issue a decision. There are 3 potential outcomes. We can deny the application, we can approve the application outright, or we can approve the application with conditions. The New Hampshire Solid Waste Rules identified the requirements for approvals and the explicit grounds for denials. The New Hampshire Solid Waste Rules and the Solid Waste Statute are available online through either the DES website or the state legislature's website. That is a brief overview of the application review process. Leah?
Thank you, Jamie. Present a description of the application and proposed facility for which they are seeking a solid waste permit.
Wherever you want to stand.
I'm Kelly Anderson. I'm from Sanborn Head, and we're representing ReSource Waste Services with their application. We prepared it and have been working with them to move this project forward. So,
Kelly, if you could speak up a little bit too, that would be great.
Sorry. Next slide, please. Jamie's already covered all of this, so we can go to the next slide. So as indicated, ReSource has put in a standard application for an MSW transfer station at their Epping facility. The application has asked for 750 tons a day on average to be brought to the facility and a maximum quantity of 2,000 tons. Slide, please. This is an overview of the existing facility and the property lines. The property is bound to the eastern side by New England Speedway, to the north by the river, and Route 27 is located to the south of the facility. As you can see, there's an access road up the eastern side of the parcel that leads to their current C&D facility that's located at the site. The current facility has an office building, scales, and you can see the building in the kind of upper left-hand corner. Additionally, there is a solar array on the southern portion of the facility. Slide, please. Where we're proposing to put the transfer station is in that yellow area. So it's kind of the western corner of the facility, since the site is not rectangular, and access would be off of the access road, and it would be a separate facility from the existing site features. This is just a blow up of what the actual facility would look like. So as you can see, the access road is on the eastern side. We're proposing a new access driveway point to go to the coming and outgoing materials. You then have the transfer building. There's existing stormwater basins that would be enlarged and enhanced. And then there's parking out back of the building. So briefly, how material would be handled at the vehicles then go to the southern side of the building. The vehicle then, that vehicle exits the building and then is entering to trailers that are on the backside in those trailer pits. Additionally, if intermodal trailers are used and filled, there is a delidding station, as those are closed containers that come with tops. Tops need to be removed and replaced prior to and following filling. Slide, Jimmy. This is just a really quick of the floor plan. As noted, there are multiple doors proposed on the southern side of the facility, so multiple vehicles can enter. The very large area, which is about 22,500 feet, is the tipping floor, where all the materials will be handled, processed, recyclables. Large size will be pulled out, and then the material is pushed the trailer pits, where there's access for up to 2 trailers to be filled at one time. Additionally, there's office space proposed on the eastern side into mechanical and electrical rooms. Slide. These are just some very generic schematics of what the building could potentially look like. Once again, there's the 4 doors on the front side. The back side is just barely, it's a trailer pit, so it's just a really blank wall. And then on both sides, there are proposed retaining walls, as there's a 15-foot difference between the floor building elevation and the trailer pit elevations. So the site has been designed in all the rules and regulations for this facility, one of which the regulations require that any solid waste exceeding the amount collected of New Hampshire solid waste cannot be sent to a landfill or an incinerator from New Hampshire. So this is not proposing to increase disposal in New Hampshire of out-of-state waste. Also, it will divert any recyclable materials of a larger scale. So that's pretty much our presentation.
In a few moments, we will take a break. However, I'd like to explain the ground rules for the testimony portion of the hearing and provide instructions for delivering oral testimony. Again, our objective this evening is to give everyone who wishes to speak a reasonable opportunity to do so. After you have provided your name in accordance with the upcoming instructions, I will call on people to speak in the order displayed on the screen. Based on the number of attendees, I request that you limit your testimony to 5 minutes. Jamie will be monitoring your time and will show the yellow card when you have 1 minute left. When you see the yellow card, please start wrapping up your testimony. When Jamie shows the red card, that means your time is up. Please graciously yield the floor without significant delay so that I can call the next speaker in line. We are frequently asked whether a speaker can yield their time to another speaker of their choice. This practice will not be allowed during this hearing. Instead, we intend to proceed through the list of names to give everyone the time that they need to provide their comments. In other words, the person you might wish to yield your time to will have plenty of opportunity to testify. They will just need to request to testify and wait for their turn in line. When I call your name, if you decide you do not wish to speak at that time, just let me know, and we will place your name at the end of the list to be called on after all of the other speakers have cycled. If you are here at the American Legion and wish to turn in written testimony this evening, please place the written testimony in the designated box to be receipt stamped and secured as part of the official record. You'll find that box next to the entrance of the room. If you are accessing this hearing remotely, please submit written testimony as instructed in the notice of public hearing. As a reminder, a copy of the hearing notice is available on the DES website. We often receive questions about how someone can receive notice when DES issues a decision on the application. Everyone who is registered to attend this hearing remotely or who filled out a testimony card with their contact information will be placed on the list for receiving notice when a decision on the application is issued. Those participants who did not fill out a testimony card or register for the hearing, but would like to receive notice of the decision, can add their name to the sheet at the table near the room entrance or contact the Solid Waste Management Bureau by email at swpublic.comment@des.nh.gov. Recall that this hearing is being recorded. Therefore, during the public testimony session, clearly and start your testimony by stating your name. If you forget to do so, I will briefly stop you to remind you. If you are here in person and would like to provide oral comments, please fill out a testimony card and place it in the designated box if you have not already done so. DES staff will add your name to the list displayed on the screen. If you are accessing this public hearing remotely, please listen closely to the following instructions to provide oral testimony using Microsoft Teams. For oral testimony, remote participants will use the Microsoft Teams Q&A function. Using this function, you will let DES know you would like to provide oral testimony by entering your identifying information into the Microsoft Teams Q&A box. Please note that we are not seeking questions to be answered. We are using Microsoft Teams Q&A function to identify who would like to be called upon to provide oral testimony and to assist us in tracking testimony. Please enter only your name, address, and who you represent, such as an organization or yourself, in the Q&A box. The information typed in the Q&A box is not your testimony, and you should not type any substantive content in this box. In order to be added to the list to provide oral testimony, you must enter your name, address, and who you represent. For those participating by phone who would like to comment, dial *5 on your keypad to raise your hand to signal that you'd like to comment. When instructed to do so, you'll dial *6 to unmute your phone. When finished, please dial *6 again to mute your phone. We traditionally attempt to provide state senators and representatives the opportunity to speak first. If you are a senator or representative participating remotely and would like to be called upon early in the queue, please write senator or representative before your name, and we will put you up front in the queue. You should see the Q&A box in the Microsoft Teams dashboard. If you want to provide testimony, please type your name, address, and who you represent in the Q&A box, then hit enter to submit. We will be monitoring the list of attendees who are submitting this information and will place your name in the queue. Remember that if you need technical assistance with getting onto the list to provide testimony, Jean Ronigan is available by phone or by email. You can reach Jean by phone at area code 603-271-8740 or by email at jean.m.ronigan@doit.nh.gov. We will now take a short break to enter names on the list, and we will be back in 5 minutes. Our objective this evening is to give everyone who wishes to speak a reasonable opportunity to do so. If your testimony will not fit inside the allotted time limits, you are more than welcome to resume during a subsequent round of testimony. Also, please be respectful of each other. There may be differing viewpoints represented by the participants of this hearing, and issues can be emotionally charged. In all cases, I ask that participants honor the process of being able to hold a public hearing to courtesy and civility. We will begin oral testimony at this time. I will call on individuals one at a time. For in-person participants, DES will manage the microphone in the room. For remote participants, please ensure that your microphone is not muted. When called on, begin your testimony by stating your name and then proceed with your comments. Our first person who has indicated that they would like to provide testimony is Melissa Pally. I apologize if I do not pronounce your name correctly. When I turn the floor over to you, please start by stating your name, and you have the floor.
I'm right here. I'm happy to wait for others to go before me.
Anybody online?
No one else.
You are it.
I am the only speaker.
You are it right now.
That's kind of shocking. But okay, I will learn. I'm Melissa Paley. I'm the Great Bay Piscataqua for the Conservation Law Foundation. And you may be aware that Conservation Law Foundation, CLF, has been concerned about the health of the environment across New England for more than 60 years. And in particular, the Waterkeeper program was established nearly 20 years ago to provide legal advocacy to restore and protect the critical resources of local, regional, and national significance. And we've been quite concerned for many years with land uses and discharges that cause or contribute to the declining health of the Great Bay Estuary. For many reasons that I will only touch on at a higher level here and provide more detailed comments by the January 22nd deadline. We urged New Hampshire DES to reject ReSource Waste Services permit application for a vast solid waste facility on the shores of the Piscataqua River, which is an important tributary to one of the 7 major rivers in the Great Bay Estuary, being the Lamprey River. The Piscataqua River has New Hampshire's highest water quality classifications. It is designated Class A waters, which means that there should be no discharge in this classification. The waters of Class A water should be considered as potentially acceptable for water supply uses after adequate treatment. Indeed, Piscataqua River flows into the Lamprey River, which is drinking water supply for downstream communities, including the town of Durham. The Piscataqua River is mapped as an outstanding water resource watershed, meaning, again, this river has outstanding resource values, ecological values. Habitat abutting this site has some of the highest habitat value in the state. The Piscataqua River, as a tributary to the Lamprey River, the Lamprey River is the only river designated by the National Park Service as a wild and scenic river in this part of New Hampshire. Again, highlighting the important ecological and cultural value of these waterways. So it's impossible to imagine a world in which 750 tons of solid waste every day and 2,000 tons of solid waste in storage at any given time would not present a threat to water quality, either to an inadequately mapped floodplain zone, given increasing frequency and intensity of rain events that this facility abuts, or by trash that will blow, leachate that will leak, and other kinds of impacts that this facility will most certainly have. The facility, furthermore, fails to satisfy the statutory requirements for public benefit for solid waste. New Hampshire does not need another commercial solid waste transfer facility. There are currently 239 active waste storage transfer facilities in the state. This includes 65 privately owned commercial transfer stations or scrap metal facilities. The state needs recycling facilities. The state needs commercial compost facilities. These are the kinds of facilities that would satisfy New Hampshire's solid waste management plan, not additional solid waste transfer facilities. Furthermore, it's unclear in this application whether the the total quantity of waste that ends up in New Hampshire landfills. The application says that it will not, but there are no data to support that. So the resource waste must demonstrate that the facility will operate or be part of an integrated system which operates in a manner that separates recyclables, diverts recyclables to authorized facilities, and in other ways provides public. I want to just raise the traffic impacts that are rather shocking. The number of trucks that will be coming and going from the facility is almost 3 times current truck traffic. I think that is a concern as well. So as I mentioned, we will be providing more detailed comments in written testimony, but I just wanted to highlight some of our concerns. Thank you. Thank you.
Do we have anyone else in person that would like to provide testimony? Start by stating your name, please.
Dan Davis, Nottingham, New Hampshire. I'm a kayaker and I swim in the Pecasset River. And I really don't like the idea of having 2,000 tons of trash stored, whether in sealed containers or not, on the river. I also have concerns about storing trash near the river because it's a floodplain. And I also question whether the DES in New Hampshire has the necessary resources to monitor this site as needed. That's my only comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in person wish to provide public comment? Do we have?
I'd like to make one additional point, if it's permissible.
Please. State your name.
My name is Melissa Paley, again with Conservation Law Foundation. I want to just point out the fact that the Department of Environmental Services right now has the town of Epping under an administrative, has the town of Epping under a corrective action plan for a water treatment facility that discharges into the Lamprey River that is failing to meet water quality requirements. The town of Epping is actively moving forward with a bond to vastly upgrade the wastewater treatment facility in the town of Epping at a tremendous cost to taxpayers. In fact, just this week, there was a hearing by the town select board to move forward with a $38 million bond to upgrade the Epping wastewater treatment facility. I'm sure Mike is well aware. I think it's rather shocking that there would be any realistic approval for a facility which would, while the agency on the one hand is requiring investment to improve the health of the Lamprey River, would approve a facility that would absolutely cause or contribute to declining water quality from a proposal of this sort. So I would ask that you look at this proposal, as I'm sure you will, in the totality of the health of both the Pecasset River, the Lamprey River, the Great Bay watershed, the people who recreate on these waterways, the people who drink water from these waterways. This is not a place to be dumping or casually, transferring, 750 tons per day of solid waste. The idea that you would that the company would be able to visually inspect that amount of solid waste is ludicrous. And the likelihood of, a worst case scenario is very frightful to the people who live in the region and who depend on these waterways. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you.
Do we have anyone online that wishes to provide public comment? We'll ask one more time in the room if anyone wishes to provide comment. Seeing no one else who wishes to provide oral testimony, I will prepare to close the oral portion of the hearing. Please keep in mind that the public hearing remains open until the close of the public comment period. Written comments can be submitted to DES up to 4 p.m. on Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. They can be emailed or submitted by mail. Directions for submitting written comments are provided in the public notice for this hearing. Before closing the oral hearing, I'm going to confirm that we are still connected to our remote participants. Sam, would you please confirm our connection? Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to participate in this public hearing. This oral hearing is hereby closed at 6:45 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.